Hi everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. I'm going to be going over crontab, which is part of the Linux, it's part of the Linux core functionality, as well as Unix. So what we're doing is, if you go to this website, I'll include it in the blog, I'll show you what I've compiled. You go to this website here called Managing Cron Jobs Using Python. I like Python a lot. I like to do everything I can in Python. No point in working with other programming languages, including the scripting language of Linux, the bash or the shell scripting. I'd rather do it all in Python because I just get it done faster. So in this video, I want to show you what is cron and some of the functionality in it, how to execute it. This URL or this website blog posting is pretty self-explanatory. I've created some source code files from it, so I'll walk you through that instead, probably easier. So in here, I have a variety of different Python scripts. So right now, there's two Python scripts that you typically would need. Let me just first show you the URL of this blog post I just mentioned. Just go into the README, you'll find it in there. I've got a package that I've made available for folks, so they can easily go to that. Now, what we're doing is we are going to run a cron job from within Python using the crontab functionality in Linux to generate a file that will just generate a text or line in this file here, dateinfo.txt, and print out the current date and time. That's really exciting stuff. So how it works is to use crontab, all you gotta do is just do crontab to see the. Now again, I need to stress this will not work in Windows. We'll address that in a minute or in a little bit towards the end. Why Windows? You'd be using it, don't ask me. But I've got one system left on Windows, and that's going to be converted at some point to Ubuntu as well. I'm not a big fan of Ubuntu, but it does the job well for right now. Anyways, using crontab list, here -list, you can see it's running these various cron jobs that are in the file here. So we've got the Python script is going to run where it's located, and we can use, if you're not familiar, I have Python 2 running in parallel. So you can see here is 2.7. The support of Python 2 will eventually die, I think, the end of this year or next year. And I have Python 3. The current stuff that I have, pretty well everything on is Python 3 now, 3.6 in my case. So we're just testing out. We can run Python 2 or 3 or whatever. Let's look at the source code. So the simple source code file that we can look at is write data. Now what write data does is just a simple script that will go out, as I said, will get the datetime package. It will then also open this file. And if it doesn't exist, it'll create it and go into append mode. If it does exist, it'll just add to the end of the file. Has the identifier and just out dumps this line into the current time, now time, with the string, the time and date, into that file, dateinfo.txt, and we'll put it at the beginning of the line, the new line character. As a carriage return. Okay, so that's what the write data does. The other thing I forgot to mention, which is kind of helpful, is in here it will write the file to wherever the default user is. So if you put in a path here, you can probably specify what path you want this file to be written in. All right, so we know that. That's cool. So now let's start working with some cron jobs. The first one is the most basic one we'll probably end up working with. Is a schedule cron job. So basically what this does is you need to install the crontab package with pip or pip3, and then get that up and running. So the thing is here, we need to set up a cron job. Now, we need to know what user that you're working with. In my case, anytime I set up a system, I only have one user, just me. So if I do a who am I, you'll know who your user is at QuantLabs.net in this case, and you define your user here, as you can see. And then what we do is we go through this infinite loop as long as the cron job exists. So we can put a data info comment in there. Again, this is all explained in this tutorial. I'm not going to go into it because, as I said, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll just give you a quick rundown. It will run the job every minute. It will write out the cron job, the job into the cron tab, and then create this statement saying the cron job has been modified successfully. Okay, so this is the second version of this schedule cron, because there's two scripts that you're going to write. This is your first one here, and this is basically what you're going to create. So in this case, what we're doing is doing the same thing, and we're just writing. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the right. So it's this one right here. That all you do is just set up your cron tab job. You set up the path, the Python script that you want to run, and then the write data, the file, and then do it every minute, and just write the job into the cron tab, and then you run it. So that's the original file. Then the second thing is you can modify it by going through here, and this is what I just showed you here. So if I make a modifications to this script file, as I do here, Python, let's say I make some kind of modification of the file to the Python script, it will say, okay, you have a new email, and it will hopefully send that job to the cron tab, and you can look at the cron tab as I showed before by the -L. So these are all the cron jobs that we have set up. So if I go into the original write data, so if I look at that file again, that what's writing this is the actual job itself. Which helps if I so date, yes, date. So here's the original file we're working with. So it should write the date to that date info text file. As I said, it's going to go into the default setting, which is right here, this tilde. So if I just do this tilde write data, I'll show you where I'm at right now. You can easily figure it out. This is my current path of where I'm located. I'm sorry, this one right here. That's my current path. Users, QuantLabs.net, number of users, QuantLabs.net's the user, docs, document, Python cron tab. So that's where I'm currently located. So if I go in and do an edit on that file called date info, this will work. Or it might be better if I just go over and then look through all my text files. You'll see it right here. So that's the one that's getting modified by the cron job. And there you go. It's right into that file every minute as long as the cron job is alive. So that's pretty well it. There's some other things you can do. I'll go back to my original. And then look at my other scripts I can show you. These are explained in the, so we can do some neat stuff like how frequently are we running the cron jobs, when's our next scheduled cron job, and we can also cancel the cron job as well. So I'm not going to do that. So if I want to cancel, this is all you're doing really. Just running, here's the Oh no, I've got the wrong code in there. That's okay. But again, you can look at the references here because it will have the code in there. Calculating job frequency, clearing jobs from, so it's right here. So if I just modify this code right here, let's just do it here. Copy paste, this should work, but always change, make sure you got the correct user account. Let's see what happens. See if this gets canceled. Actually, no, let me do the other ones first. Okay, so we have here, we can run how frequent will the jobs be from the cron tab. This is pretty cool. So this is running every 60 minutes. There's another one every, I'm assuming every few seconds. So just check, show you the source code here. Again, the that blog item, that posting will explain everything for you. So here's the frequency and how per hour as well. So combine two scripts into one. Also, we have, it will tell us when our next cron job will be. So let me just run that first. So there's some very good things that you can do with Python with this. So you gotta run Python 3, that always helps. So here's the next, so it's running every minute, looks like, because I have 3 jobs for every minute, so that will tell you what jobs are next, and then we have 3 of them in the next minute. So if I show you the source code, this is what it looks like. Get the next set of jobs, and I'm sure you can pass this to say, I don't know, next. Let's see if it works. I'm just no, it won't. I'm not going to go in here and muddle around with it. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. But how does this help you out in terms of me? Yeah, so I've got this posting here, how to use crontab in Linux and Mac OS with Python, on my blog at quantlabs.net/blog. In here, what I've shown you is, or a couple of notes that to me are important, and I think it'll be important for you. Here you can download the scripts I just showed you. It's a zip file. Remember, it only works in Linux and Mac OS. Right here, when it comes to scripting and the way I'm doing it, you definitely want to reduce your output from the console with the statement print in Python, because it gets really hairy, and it also does take up computing processing time. So you're better off to log everything. So as I said, you want to dump all your output into a text file or into a log. You can also do monitoring as well. Do the same thing and dump it into a text file or a log. Now, one thing is, I've done a course on this. It's really important. So that's why you've probably seen the quantity logo there. Hey, daddy's got to eat, right? So again, if you go to my store here under the, anywhere in the website at Quant Labs, what you'll get is, I've given you the URL and the overlay of this video. Woohoo! There's our chat. So if you go in the store, it loads up. Okay, there's our store. So if you scroll down into the elite, where are we? You're right here. That's what we're referring to. Okay, so in there though, if you come into courses, you'll get access to this. It's called From, what is it? Evolution of Zero to Hero Trading Strategy. So this course does exactly what I'm talking about, but we're now adding more content to it. So what we're doing here with the original, very first strategy that I'm currently modifying, what we've got here is I come from the C days in the mid to late 80s. That's when I started. I'm a young-looking fossil in this business. So in there, I quickly learned how to use, for debugging techniques, just simple print statements and pause, press a key. That's all I do. I showed that last night in my course for the Python scripting. But here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to log stuff. And what we do is when we create logs, we're going to create a lot of them. But going back to my notes in this blog posting, what you're doing is You want to put as much as you can into the text files or logs. And then you obviously need the proper drive space and be able to find quick ways to look through logs. And then be able to have enough drive space to store them, because you'll see markets totally different than you would in any other way, not looking at charts. But if you're going minute by minute, even tick level, it's very helpful to know how this works, because you will see things and patterns more quickly than you would at guessing from just looking at charts and using other programs, or basically term them black boxes to learn from, or use them as a form of a crutch. This course will walk you through that. It will take you out of that mindset, which to me is very dangerous. Once you start learning about the patterns, the indicators that you want, that's what I'm teaching right now in the Python course. How to do that, how to use indicators, over 300, specifically more candlestick patterns, be able to learn how to log the results from that. Then you'll see things that you wouldn't see any other way. And from that, you'll be able to develop that skill of learning about text files and logs as a debugging technique in just not only trading or automated trading, but just general trading. At the beginning, it's pretty painful. It may take you a month or two, but once you figure stuff out, you'll quickly see patterns that you're not going to find in other blogs, you're not going to find in other sources, including news. But once you start to figure it out, you run it through a Python script, testing it, you'll see things, and you'll see that, and it's all through the form of text files. That's why I push those. And now that we have ways to automatically run tasks in Python scripts, but be able to dump logs, dump text files, and then have other processes to remove them, to keep your system clean once you get it to a production level status and optimal. You can also dump out charts using whatever charting package you want from Python. I use Chart Director for a lot of reasons, and this is how I do it. So this skill here with crontab is going to make life a lot easier. The big takeaway from crontab I will push more is when you start up your scripting with whatever crypto strategy you may have, the other powerful thing is that with crontab you can have it run specific jobs at specific times. So there is a website out there that will show you how to set up cron jobs and not include other rules. So for instance, I have two big scripts that do downloading and what I call pricing. That's each of the strategies run like that. But basically now I want to shut them down at, let's say, 11:45 my time. The rest of the world will say 23:45 if you're on a 24-hour military clock. So quarter to midnight, let's say. And what it will do is it will back up all the logs, back up the database if I want to use that, run the P&L reports, and then insert all the data into my new reports I'll be building out for my equity curve and eventually for my term sheets for performance on both strategies. And I'll be able to run this in the background, run it in an automated way where I don't have to worry about it. And I'm building out my own automated term sheet and charts with an equity curve and a return distribution, as I've shown earlier. And again, that has now been pushed into my Elite as well, because that script is very powerful. So I've got all that as part of my package when it comes to if I decide to show the performance of these strategies to potential investors or potential, basically investors, capital allocators, because these are industry standards of what they will look like, and I can also build them into a much nicer, prettier format if I want with all the other Python packages that I have, so I can fully automate this. And this is, again, because of crontab. So what I was saying, though, I ramble on too much sometimes, but I can have a job run till 23:45 or quarter to 12, all the scripts turning themselves off, and then have a new set of scripts that will kick in or jobs that will, as I said, run the reports, do all the database stuff. And then once everything's done, which shouldn't take more than really a couple of minutes, but I allocate maybe 10, 15 minutes, have this crontab thing reset, and then turn on all the, oh, excuse me, that's good, live on Facebook and eventually on YouTube, but eventually be able to have those tabs, the cron jobs kick in at midnight again and turn everything back on. Do it 7 days a week and just let it run on a remote server somewhere. This is bad. Or local on my system so I can protect my intellectual property that I've been working on over the last few months. So a lot of flexibility here. It's, as I said, it's all open source. It's free. But again, you can download what I've created here on the cron tab. Download zip at this at quantlabs.net/blog. Again, for those on the podcast, it's called How to Use crontab in Linux and Mac OS with Python. So that's the article you look for on my blog again at quantlabs.net/blog. Hopefully I'll help you out. Yeah, so there you go. Some really neat stuff, and we shall talk to you later, and hopefully you got some good use out of it. Later. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you for liking. See you.